You're on.
Good morning and happy Friday. Today we are joined by three esteemed guests from very diverse backgrounds. We're happy to have them and are excited to hear what they have to share. Our guest today is State of Alabama Department of Labor Secretary Fitzgerald Washington. We are honored to have Secretary Washington with us this morning via WebEx from his home in Tuscaloosa. We know that you have an incredibly busy schedule, Mr. Secretary, especially during this time, and we value your insights about individuals and businesses that you're supporting during this time. We also have with us Alabama Department of Public Health Administrator from the Northern District. Should be no stranger to you, Judy. You've been good to join us. Thank you for that. Look forward to hearing what you have and latest updates from our health department. And then for the first time, we have with us Decatur Morgan County Tourism President, CEO, Danielle Gibson. Danielle has led our local tourism industry throughout this unprecedented time with campaigns like MoCo Cares, that's Morgan County Cares, virtual event series, and most recently, Armchair MoCo, which has just recently been introduced. It's an online social distancing tool to help us learn more about the community around us. So we're excited to learn more about the CVB's current initiatives. And then, of course, we're pleased to have with us Kelly Howbrooks again as she helps with our signing. So with that, I want to introduce our Secretary of Labor. Again, we want to honor his time and his schedule. We'll begin today's update from Tuscaloosa to hear the latest from the Department of Labor. For the sake of time, we'll take questions from the media directly after the Secretary finishes with what he has to share today. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us.
First of all, let me say good morning. I really appreciate Mayor Bowling for giving me this opportunity to update this group on what ADOL is doing to help so many people during this crisis. The situation we find ourselves in is full of uncertainty as more and more positive cases of the virus are announced. From an employment perspective, layoffs are occurring by the day and is affecting the livelihood of people not only in Alabama, but around the world. The U.S. unemployment rate for March is 4.4%, which increased almost a full percentage point from the 3.5% rate in February. Just today, ADOL released the unemployment rate for March, which is 3.5%. Now that's up 0.8% from the 2.7% that we reported in February. The March rate represented 78,000 unemployed persons compared to 59,000 people unemployed in the month of February. Number of people working is at 2,138,000, which is down by 24,000 people over the same time period. We do anticipate the full impact of mass layoffs in our April data that we'll announce sometime in May. Now I'm going to touch on the CARES Act program that President Trump signed into law on March 27th. The $2 trillion package provides additional relief for more groups impacted by COVID-19. One of the areas all states have been challenged with is the fact that the federal government has been really slow to give guidance on how the programs in the CARES Act should be administered. I'm going to touch on the key programs in the Act and then give a brief description of the relief for each one of them. First is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, or PUA. This program provides unemployment benefits to those who ordinarily would not be eligible. These include individuals who are self-employed, nonprofit, gig economy workers, churches, or contract employees. These groups do not currently contribute to the state to our trust fund, but we need to create a path on how they should apply for those benefits. This week, we released more information on how these groups can apply for those benefits. We have detailed instructions listed on our website, which is at labor.alabama.gov. The Alabamians who file for benefits may receive a notice they are ineligible for benefits, even though they may be eligible. All claimants will receive a document in the mail. The document should be completed with the required documentation as soon as possible so that these claims can be processed. In the instruction, self-employed Alabamians are to enter your name as their employer and use your address or business address in the profile box. Self-employed individuals will need to file weekly claims for each week for partial week, they're unemployed. We will be able to pay those eligible weeks retroactively. The next program is the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program, or FUC. This program provides $600 per week to an individual eligible for unemployment benefits. So you'll see some folks will qualify for the maximum $275 unemployment compensation weekly benefit and $600 stimulus benefit, which total $875 per week. Now, for comparison, in the state of Texas, their maximum unemployment compensation weekly benefit amount is $521 per week. So when you add the $600 weekly stimulus, you have $1,121 per week. One thing I'm really proud of, and that is the fact that Alabama was one of the first 5 states to pull the trigger on paying the stimulus once we received federal guidance. The final program in the CARES Act is called the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, or EEUC, which allows for an additional 13 weeks of benefit added to the end of the regular unemployment benefit. And what that means is claimants may collect unemployment benefits for a much longer period of time than under normal circumstances. Again, a full list of qualifications, or full list of qualifications, you can visit our website, which is labor.alabama.gov. You know, one of the most discussed elements in the stimulus package is the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program, which provides for an additional $600 a week in benefits. The additional $600 weekly benefits will only be available for the weeks beginning March 29th through July 31st. Now, the concern that I've heard from some employers is that the $600 weekly stimulus will give some workers an automatic wage increase if the employer resumes operation. Would that discourage the employee from returning to work? Straight rule. That's if the employer resumes operation, and the employee refuses to return to work, the employer notifies us through our new hire report process, and those employees become ineligible and those benefits stop. Just as a reminder, $600 weekly stimulus expires on July 31st. Now, our staff has been responding to a lot of questions, a lot of technical questions that can't be answered by a quick yes or no. In most cases, we have to review the new guidance from USGL and compare those with our own state rules. I'm going to give you a few examples. One question that we get asked quite often, and that is, can a claimant who has an overpayment use that $600 weekly stimulus reimbursed for the overpayment? The answer is yes. So if an individual owes $200 in an overpayment, they can use the $600 weekly stimulus to pay that overpayment. The maximum amount that can be reimbursed for overpayment, 50% or $300 of the $600 weekly stimulus. The second question, I have more than one job. If I lose one job due to COVID-19, can I still draw for unemployment? The answer is only if your earnings are less than your regular UC weekly benefit amount, which is the maximum amount is $275 per week. The third question that I will share with you, if an employee receives unemployment benefit as a result of the coronavirus business shutdown, the employer's unemployment taxes increase. The answer is employers' charges will be waived weeks claims due to COVID-19 until further notice. Employers are urged to file partial claims or full claims on their employees' behalf. This process actually expedites the claim process. I'm going to give you a quick update on some facts surrounding initial claims. There were 73,000 claims taken last week alone. Approximately 98,000 claims filed the prior week. And how about 12,000 claims were filed just yesterday? So based on this data, see that there was a mass surge of layoffs. There also has been more than 306,000 claims filed in the last 4 weeks compared to 130,000 claims filed all of last year in 2019. Now folks, that's a 176,000 increase in claims alone in just 4 weeks. Additionally, ADOL has paid out over $188 million in claims over the same time period, and $120 million in stimulus relief released since last Wednesday. Currently, we have almost $700 million in our trust fund to pay out those claims. Now, just as a reminder, payment will be made by direct deposit account or an ADOL issued debit card. Usually takes up to 21 days, but should generally be sooner. Direct deposit is the fastest method to receive the benefit. Debit cards will add an additional 5 to 7 days before the payment can be made. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about some improvements that we've made over the last few weeks. We've moved our UI, or unemployment insurance payment portal, to a cloud-based system, which has spared the frequency for claim filings. We've already seen a vast improvement by doing so. We've also made some changes to our partial filing or mass filing system. For employers, when filing on behalf of the employee, have to list each individual name for submission. Now the employer just send us a one-file spreadsheet. We will export those files to our system. Now, something I'm really excited about, and the mayor and I talked about earlier, that is the rollout of unemployment. Where a person can check their claim, an initial claim filing, and get constant updates claim until the benefits rise. This tool launched yesterday, and we're already seeing a lot of positive benefits based on this handy tool. We've also repurposed 150 career centers staff to assist serve the call. As you know, we restricted public access to our career centers for another day, but our essential staff personnel are actually working inside the career center, making calls, connecting people with job opportunities. They're also taking off the demands from our career centers, that call center, with the influx of calls that are coming in. And then lastly, just yesterday, I signed an MOU, a call center vendor that will start on Monday to help us demand those calls. Currently, right now, they're going through a couple of days of training, and then we should be able to get them ready to help us with, again, the calls that are coming in. We see these enhancements as major improvements for both the employer and the claim filers. Now, please know that we realize that there's a little tension out there for those who've been laid off, no fault of their own. The process has been slow to get financial relief to them needed. I certainly understand those questions and those concerns. Let me say this, our staff's been working tirelessly to meet those demands, process the plans. I'm hopeful that some of the improvements that we've done over the last 4 weeks, that should help. I've talked to a lot of my colleagues nationally. I sort of gauge where they are in the process versus where we are. As you heard me mention earlier, Alabama was one of 5 states to pull the trigger on paying out the stimulus. There's only 29 states that have pulled the trigger on paying the $600 stimulus. 29 states out of 50. So imagine the drama that's going on in those states where people have not even gotten $600 a week stimulus. I just wanted to share that with you as parents. So we just ask continued patience from our claim filers as we continue to make these necessary adjustments and navigate ourselves through this crisis. And finally, I'll say this, I'm very confident that Alabama will rise above this crisis, be much stronger, better than before. We'll be looking at this crisis when we look through this crisis through our rigor year. Now, for those who have some questions after this call, I certainly want to direct everybody to our website. Again, it's labor.alabama.gov, and click on the COVID-19 resource page as it is being updated on a regular basis with new information and resources. So with that, that's my quick update.
Mr. Secretary, that was not a quick update. There was full of a lot of valuable information. Obviously, the department has been extremely busy and focused on making improvements for Alabamians, and thank you for your leadership. Now in one part there that you shared very critical information, we had a little technical glitch, and that is that the Alabama Department of Labor has launched a new tracking tool. and that is available, I believe, at labor.alabama.gov. So
We're really excited about the unemployment claims tracker. The tracker again will allow claim filers to track their claim along the way. We felt like this is a very important tool, because what we're finding is there are a lot of people that are accessing our system for the first time. So let's just say, we've seen this a lot where someone may not enter their social security number properly. Seen a lot of cases where people don't even get their names entered correctly. And that punches them back out of the system, and that allows them to have to get back into the system again. So they can track it through their claim through the UC tracker, find out where the disconnects are, move that claim throughout the process to the end result.
Mr. Secretary, thank you, your team. I know it takes a large team to lead this effort, and we certainly value your leadership. Note that we have no questions at this time, so, or do we have questions? We do have questions. Excuse me. All right, Emmy?
Good morning, Public Information Liaison Emmy Long here. Thank you for joining us, Secretary Washington. We do have one question coming in from Dallas Parker of News Channel 19. Is there anything the Department of Labor is planning to do as far as assistance for people who may not get their jobs back?
Did you hear the question, Mr. Secretary?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes,
Sure.
so from Dallas Parker with WHNT 19 asked, are there any plans for residents, Alabama residents, who may not get their jobs back?
Is there a plan to do what? I didn't get the last part.
For Alabama residents who are currently unemployed, have gone into an unemployed status, and may not receive their job back with their current employer. Sounds like that'd be.
If I heard the question correctly, when one files for unemployment, it usually takes about 21 days after that claim has been complete before they can receive those benefits.
Okay, so what I've seen, Emmy and Dallas, to the question that's been presented is right now encouraging Alabamians to look for essential job opportunities. And then once that happens, we know once we get past this phase and we start rolling back into an open economy, that there are a lot of job needs here in North Alabama. We know that we have need for 50,000 new residents here just to meet our job demands as we roll into 2021. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, my primary responsibility right now is to make sure we get folks paid. As we continue to get guidance from the federal government, which again has been slow, we want to make sure we update those processes so that we can get people paid. Once we feel good about we've turned the corner with the pandemic, then we'll put our focus on stabilization and recovery.
Thank you. Any other questions, Emmy?
We have one from Matthew Speakman of the Decatur Daily. He asks, how will the new unemployment claim tracker help those who have filed for unemployment?
So the question is from the Decatur Daily. The question is from the Decatur Daily and asked, how will the new unemployment claim tracker help those who visit the site?
How will it help them visit the site?
When they visit the site, yes, sir.
Yeah, they will go to the site and they will click on our link at labor.alabama.gov, and they can watch again their claim after they process it, start all the way to the end of the process.
So they'll be able to watch all the way.
It's a helpful tool so that before you wouldn't know where you were in the process. You wouldn't know if you, let's just say, entered some information in incorrectly. We have to call our system, call one of our adjudicators to find that information out, start that process over again. Now you've got the ability to do it on their own. All you would do is go to the tracker, put in your social security number and a personal PIN number. You can see where you are in the process.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for the time that you gave us today, and again for your leadership. Of course, we wish you the best and stay well. Have a nice weekend.
Okay. If there's any final questions that come up after this call, feel free, Mayor, to tell me those questions, and we'll get some answers.
Thank you for making yourself available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
Yeah, likewise, thank you. So, current Morgan County COVID-19 cases are at 44. COVID-19 testing site continues at the Morgan County Health Department, located at 3821 Highway 31 in Decatur. And it will continue next week on Monday, April the 20th, and Wednesday, April the 22nd, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. There is no charge for testing, and if you go, the health department asks that you stay in your vehicle. For more information, please contact the Morgan County Health Department at 256-353-7021. Most of our residents who made application have received stimulus checks or will be getting them soon. We encourage Decatur residents to spend these funds locally as opposed to using them for online purchases. We also want to encourage you again to reach out to our elderly neighbors. Now more than ever, it's important to reach out to these community members. This weekend, call and check on an aging friend or neighbor. And then we want to continue with focusing on the importance of our stay-at-home order. Our efforts and adherence to the health orders we've received are paying off. You know, earlier this week we reported 41 cases. Today we're reporting 44. You can see the great job that Decatur Morgan County residents are doing. Remember that our playgrounds and outdoor courts remain closed at this time. Also, if you have questions, remember you can reach out to your city council representatives, or you're welcome to reach out to me. Our information is available on our website at DecaturAlabamaUSA.com. DecaturAlabamaUSA.com. Want to continue to encourage you to order curbside, takeout, or delivery, and continue buying the gift cards to support our local businesses. City Hall will stay open by appointment only, with the exception of the Decatur Police Department, which is open 24/7. And of course, our garbage routes continue to operate as normal. Curbside recycling is temporarily suspended. So now I'd like to introduce our guest, who's a frequent flyer here with us. And Judy, thank you for joining us again. We look forward to hearing your update.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I want to take us back just a little bit and talk about how we got to where we are. You know, this time 4 months ago, most of us were taking down our Christmas decorations and worrying about what we were going to wear in the cold season of January. Meanwhile, our health officials across the world were actually looking at a new virus that seemed to be overtaking Wuhan, China, and with growing cases and death rates. Over a short period of time, we saw that expand to other countries that we often visit, Italy and Spain and many of those countries. Meanwhile, we were also watching the United States, and most of you know from having watched television that we had cruise ships that could not come back to U.S. ports because they had citizens with this virus on there. Today, worldwide, we have over 2 million cases of this new coronavirus, and over 145,000 deaths from this virus. Now, the real concern for us is it did invade the United States. And right now, in the United States, we have 678,000 reported cases. We have roughly 35,000 deaths. Now, the tragedy to this is we have superseded many other countries in the death rate. In fact, we represent 25% of the deaths in the entire world. Now, having said that, most of you know that New York has certainly had probably the hardest time of anybody, even though there have been oodles of cases in other places. In fact, the New York deaths represent 46% of the entire deaths in the United States. But what happened to us is we begin to see cases in Georgia. We had one the first one around us was in Tennessee, and then Georgia, and then Mississippi, and then Louisiana. And in the meantime, we knew that Alabama was not going to be exempt from this situation. And your officials, both your local officials as well as your state officials, begin to take some very hard, not very popular all the time, stance in order to protect Alabama citizens. Where we are today, the first case we had in Alabama was roughly a month ago on March the 13th. Shortly 2 weeks after that, we had our first case here in Morgan County. And in addition to that, sadly, we also had the first death in Alabama, which was in Jackson County. By the end of March, we were up to 831 cases in Alabama. And today, we are 5 times that rate. In Alabama, we have 4,404 cases that were reported this morning. We have 82 deaths with another 55 that are under review for a total of 137 cases that we're concerned about today. Now, all of that's the bad news. The good news is, and the mayor has already given you some of that, in Morgan County, we have 44 cases to date. We have had no new cases in the last 3 days, and we have no deaths. We would love to keep it that way. We also have information that our neighbors on either side of us, Madison County, Lauderdale County, Lawrence County, they also have evidence that we're beginning to flatten out that rate, and that is absolutely wonderful. And again, we want to keep it that way. One of the biggest concerns that public health has right now in terms of our death rate as well as our case rate is that 75% of the cases we have in Alabama are in folks that are between the ages of 19 and 64. Now, having said that, 75% of our deaths are in those that are over 65 years of age, which speaks to our critical concern about our nursing homes and any place that we have folks that are over 65 years of age. Another critical factor that we're facing right now and that we're studying now as well as in the future is that our black population in Alabama represents 27% of the population. However, they represent almost 40% of the cases, and they represent 54% of the deaths. This speaks to the continued health disparities we have in this state and the things that we do need to do. And folks, in the future, there is strong evidence that we are very close to the peak. The hope is that the peak in Alabama will be the first of next week. There is evidence that that is going to happen. I think our concern in public health is that we're going to relax. Obviously, because of livelihood, we have to go back and relax some of the things that have affected our populations in terms of their livelihood. And certainly these are critical decisions that have to be made. But what we don't want to do is stop doing what we're doing that has protected the citizens, that has stopped the things in this community. Folks, we Southerners love our ball games. We love baseball, but we really love football. And we're about to halftime. Now, I will tell you that when we first started all this, we probably were doing defensive playing, and we decided we were going to have to up our game on our offensive playing. We're almost to halftime. What we don't want to do during halftime is go back to what we were doing in the first quarter that wasn't working before we had to shift gears. We can't give up what we're doing. Keep wearing your mask. Keep doing social distancing. Keep going to testing centers and be tested if, in fact, you need those tests done. Keep doing what your local officials are asking you to do. You folks have done a phenomenal job of taking care of Morgan County. We can't let up now. We're only barely to halftime. And thank you, Mayor.
Judy, thank you. I'd
very welcome.
like to have you as my football coach anytime, I guarantee you. Thank you for the update. All right, Danielle, it's great to have you with us. Thank you for what you and your great team do for our county as it relates to tourism. This is typically a very active time in our community.
Yes,
and,
it is.
And so anyway, why don't you share a little bit and give us an update?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here this morning. This is a challenging time in the hospitality industry. Occupancy is extremely low, and our attractions are unable to stay open. We are consistently sending our partners updates from the Alabama Restaurant and Hospitality Association, and we also remain in close contact with the Alabama Tourism Department. We are also staying connected to the U.S. Travel Association and other CVBs across the United States. I'm also proud to be on the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association Board of Directors. My team also serves in many capacities on a local, regional, state, and national level. We know this time is uncertain and people are very concerned. My team and I wanted to bring a glimmer of hope to our community. So many of you are participating in acts of kindness and service, and we wanted to help share those stories. So we started the new series, MoCo Cares. Decatur Morgan County Tourism is pleased to announce the launch of a new website, providing the community with information and ideas to connect virtually with attractions and events in Decatur and surrounding areas during the COVID-19 pandemic. Many Decatur and Morgan County attractions, museums, and restaurants are temporarily closed or operating on a limited basis to help flatten the curve and to prevent the spread of COVID-19. While residents may be quarantined in their homes, that is no reason to stop enjoying life. Available at Armchair MoCo, this website is a great way to explore Morgan County while maintaining a safe social distance. Features include live stream music, take a virtual tour of some of Decatur's gyms, learn a new skill from neighbors, learn fun facts about the history of Decatur and Morgan County from a local expert, find a local restaurant or retail shop with curbside pickup or delivery, and find upcoming events to join in. I am so thankful to Ellen Didier, president of Red Sage Communications, who donated the development of this website to the community and Decatur Morgan County Tourism in gratitude and support of their small business since the company was founded in 2006. In addition to the new website, Decatur Morgan County Tourism recently rolled out the latest MoCo Cares virtual event series on all of our social media platforms. Hosted by Decatur Morgan County Tourism, the series consists of fun Facebook Live events called MoCo Cares, where anyone can learn about a wide variety of topics from community neighbors who are donating their time to share a skill or create an activity. And this new campaign and website already featured on the Sports ETA website. So we've had line dancing, gardening, all kinds of activities. So it's been really fun to see the community and our neighbors. I also wanted to highlight the 12 individuals who we call our Decatur, Alabama ambassadors. They provide us with incredible content, ideas, and photos of our community, and you'll see many of their pictures on our social media sites. We're all in this together, and I'm truly grateful to call this my community.
Thank you, Danielle, for the informative update and for your leadership and what our local tourism bureau does for Decatur and Morgan County.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I see that we have no questions today. Our next press conference will be Monday, April the 20th at 10 o'clock. So thank you for joining us today, and we will see you then. Have a safe and distancing kind of weekend. Goodbye.